But at the end of the 6 months, the doctors came in, the oncologist came in, and they told me how surprised and how well I had done because they didn't expect me to make it through. It's a funny thing when you're going through trials and you're not a Christian. When this whole thing started, when I broke my neck, I was hopeless and I wanted to die. I couldn't even bear the thought of living the rest of my life in a wheelchair and being sedentary. I remember saying over and over again, "Why me? Why me?" My thoughts then turned to a God I didn't know, and I cursed God. 1 Thessalonians 5:18, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you." But I didn't know these words. I didn't think I was a bad person, maybe a little selfish, but overall I was really a pretty nice guy. The thought never came to me that I had caused my own destruction. So what if I had a few drinks while driving? It's my life, isn't it? I'm not responsible for anyone for my actions. Proverbs 20, verse 1. "Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise." Proverbs 23:29. "Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has wounds without cause?" I didn't know these words. Today I can look back and I realize that it was my own choosing and my own course of action that brought the circumstances on that caused me to have the accident. The cancer, I believe, was a wake-up call from God to help me realize that I needed Him. Many doctors don't believe what I've gone through when they looked at my medical record. They say I'm even lucky to be alive, and I already know that. So I'm just so thankful that through God's wisdom, He brought me around to see, how He works. Now, at this time when I was doing the chemotherapy, I still was not a Christian or did not even go to church. And when I left the hospital, I remember just asking one question, and that was, "What can I eat?" And the doctors told me, "Well, whatever you will like." Genesis 1:29. God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing plant which is upon the earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed. To you it shall be for meat." The doctors never told me that. And so when I left the hospital, whatever I can get my hands on, I would eat. And I did gain weight rather quickly. But it leveled off after about 2 or 3 weeks, and my weight stayed constant. The VA hospital had me come back every quarter and to check my blood levels to make sure that the cancer didn't come back, and I did so. I did well for 1 year, but again I started to get tired easily. I knew the cancer was back. A blood test confirmed my fear. What now? The oncologist recommended the following course of immediate action: another 6 months of chemotherapy with radiation therapy. I told the doctor I needed time to think it over. My training in the Navy as my position as a naval missile technician gave me a heads up about the radiation therapy. I was determined not to go through another 6 months of chemotherapy and absolutely no radiation. There had to be some alternative method. So I began my search. I found that there were many alternatives, but were they for real? There were some that sounded ridiculous and some that I just couldn't believe. James 1, verse 5. "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that giveth to all men liberally, and it shall be given him." But I didn't know these words. And I ended up calling an aunt that had taken care of me when I was little.
It just happened that some friends of ours in church were telling us about a program that a friend of theirs was doing for some people who had cancer. And so I told him I'd call and see what we can do to see if we can get him on this program. And we called the lady in Pennsylvania, and she said, "Well, I won't be in Florida for a while to do the program for him, but she said she'd be willing to give me the program and let Gregory do it at our place because somebody had to be with him. And so we contacted a lady in Winter Park that had gone through the program, and so we visited her, and then Gregory came and stayed with us for, I think it was about 2 weeks, and we put him on this cleansing program that this lady had told us about. The program that he went through was just a cleansing program where he drank a lot of water. He had to drink lots and lots of water. I mean, he was flooding himself out. And I remember him telling me by the second day that he says, I used to go to bed at 8:30. He says, because I would be so tired. He says, here it is 10 o'clock, and I still feel wide awake. So it was working for him. And he did this program for like 13 days. And after that, he was feeling much better, but I knew nothing about how to treat cancer, or I didn't know anything about what would be good for him to do to help get rid of the cancer. And again, some friends were talking to us about Uchee Pines.
Well, I'm glad to welcome you to Uchee Pines. Directly behind me here is our Lifestyle Center. It was built in 1974, and here it is, our center is a Christian wellness center. I guess you could say that it's kind of like some wellness centers, but our emphasis is directly Christian in the spiritual aspects that we teach. And we use natural remedies and massage and herbal remedies to treat disease, along with preventive techniques that we teach people.
So I went to Uchee Pines in Alabama. All I knew is that they treated cancer naturally. What procedure they used to treat cancer I was unaware of. And to be honest, if I had known more, I most likely would have decided not to go. Why? If I told you that you could beat cancer by diet, herbal teas, and hot baths, would you believe me? 1 Corinthians 1:27. But God has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Amazing. But I didn't know these words. When I got there, I was having second thoughts because I expected a hospital or some type of clinic, and I didn't find any of that there when I got there. But after talking with some of the people there and looking around the area, I decided to stay 1 week. It was supposed to be a 3-week session, but I told myself I'll stay for 1 week and see if there's any improvement. If there's no improvement, then I'll leave. And if there is, then I'll continue listening to what they say and finish the program. The tumor I had when I arrived was the size of a baseball. It was located near the bottom left front side of my stomach. To my amazement and great joy, at the end of that first week, the tumor was almost gone. I was able to walk. I was feeling more energetic than I had since my accident. I decided to stay and learn all I could, and I completed the 3-week stay. I found answers to many questions I had, and I began to see the real purpose for life. The information that I was receiving on food.
He learned how to cook, and they put him on a program
on how to take care of my body, natural remedies that I should be doing, the 8 natural laws of health. I was learning all these things. And at the end of 3 weeks, the tumor was completely gone. I was walking 5 miles more than I had ever since I broke my neck. I was feeling great and had lots of energy. I knew then that the Lord was leading me. And during that 3 weeks, yes, I did learn about the Lord and how He does answer prayer. And even though I wasn't praying out loud, I think deep down in my soul I was asking for help. I wanted to stay at Uchee Pines, so I asked if I could, but I was denied. They said and asked for me to do like the 2 demoniacs mentioned in the Bible, which was becoming my source of strength. In a book called Desire of Ages on page 339 and 340, it reads like this: